This is also based on a writing prompt. And I'll read the prompt and then I'll read the story. So the prompt is, your adopted mother tells you while on her deathbed that you were born on a different planet. You have always suspected you were different because of the one thing that separates you from the rest of humankind. Mom's raspy breathing and the perpetual urine stink of the room grated on me, but I couldn't bear to pull myself away for even a moment. I lived in terror of going to the bathroom and then coming back to find her dead. I'm not sure how long I'd been watching. Her eyes closed a while ago, and she almost looked peaceful. I suppose morphine would do that to someone. I buried my head into my psychology book and tried to push away all the thoughts racing around. I needed to read and learn this material. Eve, she whispered. I peered over the top of my book, right into her brown eyes, 3 shades darker than her brown skin. Yeah, Mom. I snapped the book shut and set it down on the floor, leaning forward in the recliner. Hospice gave us the bed and recommended the recliner for me since we had space in her massive master bedroom. They said it would make my nights more comfortable, as if they knew I'd be sleeping in here more than I slept in my own bed. I'm thirsty, she said, reaching her hand out to me. I pushed the button that sat her up a bit and grabbed the plastic cup with the bendy straw from the end table. Her lips looked dry, her skin taut across her bones. She took 3 or 4 long pulls from the straw, closed her eyes, and leaned back. I set the cup back on the nightstand. She held her hand out to me and I grabbed it. My nearly glistening white skin stood out even more against the smooth chocolate of hers. Do you need anything, Mom? I asked, resting my hand on her forehead. The final days loomed heavy ahead of us. The weight crushed on me. She shook her head. There's something I need to tell you, though. What's that? It's about your birth, Mom. My chest tightened a little bit. No, we don't need to go there. It's okay, really. You're my mom, not her. I know that, sweetie. Her lips peeled back into a strange smile, cracking her bottom lip, her teeth pronounced in her sunken face. She licked her lip and I smeared some more Carmex on it. I know to you I'm your mother and nothing else matters. She took several breaths. I realized I was holding mine. I released it slowly through my nose. This anticipation wound me even tighter. I've always been honest that you were adopted. Our skin color couldn't make that more plain. She chuckled. I know, even mixed race kids are darker than me, I laughed. We'd lost count of the number of times someone awkwardly asked if I was adopted or some other weird question, like a black mom and a white kid was the biggest anomaly in all creation. Well, she coughed. I grabbed the cup and she took another sip. That's not all. Okay. I drug the word out far longer than was necessary. Was my mom a drug addict, found dead in the street? Is she a celebrity? Mom looked at the ceiling before she spoke. Your mom wasn't of this world. Cryptic. I squinted my eyes. Okay, I repeated, not sure where she was going. Not of what world? Ours? First world America? Was she an immigrant? Mom laughed again. A terrible idea. Soon laughing turned to coughing and coughing turned to blood, and by the time the nurse got in there and we got her all calmed down and situated and breathing again, nearly 45 minutes had passed. She closed her eyes and fell asleep. I sat back in the recliner trying to process what she'd said, picking at a bleach spot on these worn-out jeans. Was she really losing her mind? Or could I still consider her lucid? Let's assume lucid for now. My birth mom wasn't of this world. Clearly, she didn't mean an immigrant. Okay, so if not an immigrant, then what? Does she mean Earth? Is she an angel? Is that some euphemism for being dead now? Was my mom always dead? I picked up my book and opened to the page I'd been trying to read before. Too many thoughts were swirling around in my head, though, and this time I just couldn't push them away. I had to go, to move. I needed to walk. I slapped the book shut and stood. Glancing at my mom, I hesitated. I'm going for a quick walk. Don't you die on me, I whispered as I planted a kiss on her forehead. What was left of her hair still smelled of fruity conditioner the nurse brought a few days ago. She insisted that Mom's hair should be conditioned every day. I didn't really get it, but figured the nurse knew what she was talking about. At the moment, I was glad for the fruity conditioner because it smelled better than the rest of the room. I wandered out and down the hallway of our 2-bedroom apartment. I need to go for a walk, I informed the nurse, who was writing in her binder. Must be writing down what just happened. Sure, sweetie, she said, not looking up. If anyone could sound more Southern mother than this nurse, I would eat my own arm. Sadie was her name, and I loved Sadie. After the first 3 days, I loved Sadie. She was part of our family now. I pulled my checkered airwalks on and opened the front door, glancing back to Mom's room. She better not die on me. I walked to the elevator and pushed the button. Hey, Hector, I said as the door slid open. Eve, he said, nodding his head curtly, and quickly looked to the button panel. Weird. Any news? Nope, Mom's still hanging on. I clasped my hands behind my back and looked at the ceiling. I just need to clear my head a bit. Of course, to the first floor or up to the top? Down, please. I need to walk. I leaned back against the back wall, chewing on my bottom lip. Of course. The door slid shut and he pushed the button. Instead of turning to chat with me like he usually did, he clasped his hands in front and faced the door. Hector was usually really talkative, probably because he was so old. At least as old as Granddad would have been if he was still alive. Today, though, no extra words. The elevator dinged for the bottom floor. Here you go, Eve. Thanks, Hector. I stepped out and through to the lobby. Brian was today's doorman. Any news, Eve? Nope. Still hanging on. I just need to clear my head, especially since my head was starting to sound like a broken record. Okay, we'll be here when you get back. I flashed Brian a smile as I passed through the doors. I turned right and started walking. My mom isn't of this world. Not an immigrant. She's not an angel. That's just stupid. Maybe Mom means my birth mom is just special. She somehow stands out from this world. I tried to fit each piece of the puzzle together, but no matter which way I turned the pieces, they didn't fit. I walked 2 blocks in each direction trying to figure out the puzzle, but didn't come up with anything. I wanted to keep walking, but thoughts of Mom turned me back to the doors of our building. Brian opened one and smiled at me. I smiled back. I punched the button for the elevator. When Hector arrived, he smiled at me too. I was actually thankful they didn't try to small talk with me. My brain overflowed with questions. Hector dropped me off on my floor. There you go, Eve. Have a peaceful evening. Thanks. I smiled again at him and shuffled down the hall to our door. I turned the knob, noticing my knuckles. They were always knobbier than everyone else's. I thought of Hector's and Brian's hands, their fingers tapering smoothly to the tips. Each of my knuckles were more bulbous. Side effects of rheumatoid arthritis, the doctor said. I furrowed my forehead and pushed open the door. I could hear Sadie's voice drifting from Mom's room, and I rushed down the hall. Oh, there you are, sweetie. Sadie's voice was calm. Your mama was asking about you. Mom, I'm right here, I breathed, relieved to come back to the room and her to still be alive. Mom smiled at me. Sadie left, and I set myself in the recliner. Your mom, Mom said with a smile. I know, she wasn't of this world, I replied impatiently. Sorry about that coughing fit. No problem, Mom, I smiled, pretty sure my agitation was loud and clear. No more stalling. Your mother, she paused and pursed her lips as though searching for the best way to deliver the news. Yeah? Was an alien. What? I sat back in my chair. My mom has officially lost her mind. I'm sure I read about the effects of morphine on the brain in my books. Craziness was probably in there. I know, not what you were expecting to hear, but it's true. She struggled to sit up more. I moved from the chair to her bed and helped her sit up straighter. I don't have all the time in the world to talk to you about this, so you're just going to have to listen and you're going to have to choose what you believe. Okay. Eve, you are genuinely different from humans. I'd always suspected it, but there were always explanations. The abnormal rheumatoid arthritis, some kind of hair disorder. Things were weird about my body. Mom continued. Because you are not a human. I'm not a human, I repeated. You were born on Pegasus 2647b. That's Earth's classification anyway. Your mom called it Toriel. But they've said there's no life on that planet. I remembered Mom obsessively watching the news coverage a few years ago about some space anomalies in that area. That's because there isn't, she paused again. Anymore. Anymore, I repeated. You were born there 78 years ago. Wait, I'm 78? You look good for your age, Mom winked. Your mom fled Toriel 72 years ago with you and a handful of others. You were all in a state of hypersleep. That's what she called it. And she said that in hypersleep, you don't age because your body essentially completely shuts down. You left there at 6 years old and arrived here at 6 years old, even though you'd been in space for nearly 50 years, traveling here. Whoa, what? I stood and wandered around the room trying to absorb what Mom was telling me. This is impossible. Think about it, Eve, Mom urged. Who ever heard of rheumatoid arthritis with no pain? Your people have knobby knuckles like that. My knuckles, I said, rubbing them. And no hair on your body anywhere except the top of your head? I ran my fingers through my hair and stared at Mom's eyebrows. I rubbed the smooth skin on my face. Yes, Mom said, nodding slowly. Sure, I suppose it's sort of explainable medically, but again, very rare. Mom used air quotes with rare. So, I said slowly, licking my lips. I'm an alien. Yes. And no one has noticed. You're close enough to human that it's okay. We live in New York City, where people don't ask questions. Your eyes and nose can be explained by misunderstood ramifications of your rare genetic disorders. I have a genome? Well, not exactly. Mom looked away. My DNA hasn't been tested? My eyes widened and I sat back down on the recliner. I pictured my own face, the flat forehead and just a tiny bit too big eyes and just a tiny bit too small nose. No, Mom looked down at her hands. I never consented to DNA testing. Not being able to test your DNA frustrated one of your doctors to no end, but I knew that if he got his hands on that, it would be the end of you living with me, of me being your mother. I couldn't do that to you. Mom leaned forward, eyes bright. You needed a mother, not to become a circus freak or a science experiment. You're old enough now, and I'll be dead enough soon that you can make up your mind. You can decide what you want to do. Why did you wait to tell me? Because I swore to your mother. Swore what? That I would keep it from you as long as possible to keep you as safe as necessary. So you knew my mother? I was breathing fast, my heart pounding. Wait, was it a heart? Do I have a heart? Knew is a strong word, dear, Mom smiled. She was nearly dead when I found your shuttle. You were still in hypersleep. She made me promise, and she said you wouldn't remember anything until I told you. But the longer time it took, the safer you'd be. Safe from what? Safe from humans? Safe from orgalamans? Orgalamans, I whispered. Memories started filtering in as if the phrase had unlocked my mind. I could see my mother's face, the terror as she ran, clutching me. Hold to me tightly, Eve. Don't let go. The noise of the engines and shouting of the others in the shuttle, the vibration and pressure of lifting off. I remembered the muggy heat, the overgrown trees, a remote village, the sound of the language. Mom's voice broke through. You'll have to decide what you want to do with this information, Eve, dear. If you want others to know, that is your choice to make. My mind whirled as I tried to make sense of what she was saying and of the memories swirling around in my head. Memories of animals and plant life, my mother teaching me to cook, singing songs, walking along the path to where? Toriel. Is that like Krypton? What's in your mind, Eve? Mom asked. I blinked a few times and tried to focus on her. I said the first thing that came to my mind. Do I have any superpowers then? Clearly, I've seen too many movies. I don't know, my dear. Mom settled back into her bed. I don't know, and I don't know how you'll find out. I'm sorry I can't be on this journey with you, to go with you, to find answers. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. I wanted to say something, but what? It felt as if generations of knowledge was slowly seeping from a deep recess of my mind, flooding my consciousness, and my awareness grew. I slowly reached out and grabbed Mom's hand. All the pain from her cancer flashed through my body. I gasped from the intensity of pain and anguish. I could feel the toxicity of the medication, of the sick cells in her body, the fight against the invasion. My heart heaved. I could do nothing to save her. Even if I'd known sooner, I couldn't have done anything. How did I know this? Mom coughed, jarring me out of my thoughts. Suddenly, I knew there was one thing I could do for her, and I was determined to do it. Are you ready to go? I asked. Go where? She replied, one eyebrow raised. To go home? To stop suffering? Mom nodded. I took a deep breath and focused. I don't know exactly how, but I helped my mom leave. I sent her on her way out of her pain-filled body and into a new plane of existence. My insides wrenched with this new hole in my life. Her life raced through my mind. I saw her encounter with my mom. I saw myself. When I came back to this room, Mom's eyes were closed. She really was gone. I smiled through my own tears. Mom would call this transition heaven. Me? Yesterday, I would have agreed. Today, I'm not so sure. The end.